Hi besties, welcome back. We are preparing for preparatory examinations. There is no time. Time to play is, I'm not going to say it for YouTube. You say it down in the comment. Okay, don't say it. Just say the first word. Let's see if you actually clock that first letter. First letter. So for this video, we are doing topics and assessments that have to be done in the third term. If you're watching this video, it means that you have pushed through the first half of the year. You are 85% almost done with matric. And that's not an easy thing. And what do we do to icons in this channel? We clap for them. Clock it. You have worked term 2 almost through hands, but this is the term. Term 3 is the last term to redeem yourself. It is the last term to redeem yourself. It is the last term that your teachers are going to be marking your scripts for your high school career. It's a very, very big step, and I don't want you guys to take it very lightly. And this is the term where we make a huge academic comeback. Trial exams, final exam, same WhatsApp group. They are the same thing. What makes these two different? Just that the other is set by the province, the other is set by the national department. That's it. The curriculum is done for term 3. You are writing on all topics, same with your finals. So when people say preparatory exams give you an idea of how you're going to do in your final, believe them. Because I believe them. I have a cute blanket again, it's very cold. So let us start with home language, whether it's English, Setswana, isiZulu, Sepedi, Tshivenda, Afrikaans, home language. Home language, at this point, you are done with everything. You are going to be revising paper 1, finishing off your literature pieces. Remember, it's either you do poems, short stories, novel, or drama. Then in the trial exam, when I talk about paper 2, we'll discuss the style. What assessment strategies are here for this? So in home language, there is a literature task. That is out of 35. So it's like an essay and short questions. You get that? So it's out of 35. That's the first task you're going to be doing for the term. And then we have 3 papers. Paper 1, which is a language. Paper 2 is literature. Paper 3 is writing. Now let us get into these and make sure that you understand so that you do not make mistakes. Remember that paper 1 has a comprehension, summary, cartoon and advert, and language and editing skills. That is what you have. And it's out of 70 for home language. When we talk about first editional, you'll see that it changes. In this question paper, you answer all the questions. You do not skip a question in paper 1. I hope you're writing this down. Are you? I'm gonna wait. Get that pen. Got your pen? Got your paper? Are you writing down? Clock it. Paper 2. This is where things become a bit different. Paper 2, there's usually poems where they'll give you compulsory poems, and then there's an unseen poem. So 2 of the poems you'll know, the other you will not. And then there is a novel and a drama. The paper is usually out of 80. A novel and a drama, there is contextual questions, and then there's an essay question. And you need to answer like this. So whenever you answer paper 1, everything has to be written. Paper 2, you write like this. So what does this mean? You answer contextual questions from the novel. You can answer contextual questions from the drama. You have to take 1 contextual question and 1 essay question. If you answer contextual questions together, they're only going to mark 1. If you answer 2 essay questions, they're only going to mark 1. So make sure that you do this. Questions, essay. Questions, essay. You can't answer questions and essay from the same literature piece. It can happen. be to show that you do not make that mistake, because people actually do make that mistake. Paper 3. Paper 3 is the Beyonce of all the papers. It's an essay, you choose one. There are 2 transactional pieces out of 25, you choose 2. And for paper 3, I'm going to be giving tips later, but for paper 3, it's creativity. Start reading more, listen more, watch more podcasts, increase that vocabulary. Talk about the immense joy, the pride, like make sure that it's not, it was a very sunny Saturday. No. Teachers have been seeing that for the past 10 years. They are tired. Enough is enough. Justice for teachers. It was a sunny, beautiful morning. Oh no. Already you are getting less than 70. You get that. But also don't use words that are too big that they actually don't fit. You know, if you're going to be talking about things like I was flabbergasted, understand what that word means. Do you understand what we mean when we say flabbergasted? Structure is very important. 60% of the marks in paper 3 are from your creativity, the use of the English language or whatever language that it is. You need to use things like idioms, but let me not talk about that. That's not for this video. All right, that is with home language. Let us now go to file. Okay, so when it comes to file, it seems like the activities are more or less similar. And another pro tip, you can start preparing for paper 1 because you're already done. You don't need to do anything yet. So for first additional language, majority of South Africans have it as English. Some it's Afrikaans, Setswana, Zulu, depending. For this, it's just trial exam out of 250. Paper 1, language, 80. And it has comprehension, summary, cartoon advert, and then language and editing skills. Paper 2 is literature. Same thing again. You only choose the literature pieces that you were taught. So if you are not taught poems at school and you know the poem went from somewhere, you cannot choose it because your teacher will not mark it, and in the final exam they will not mark it. Do what you were taught at school. There are 8 short stories for English. You need to know all 8. They are only going to examine 2. So it's usually 17, 18 marks. And then poems, they're also going to choose from the 10, 8. They'll choose 2. From the novel and the drama, they're going to choose 2 acts or 2 pieces from there and then ask questions about that. For those, you need to answer everything. You get that? Answer the topics you were taught. If there are short stories you haven't done, make sure you read them. Because if you're doing short stories, they can ask any. It's not because you learned the short story, but there are 4. Short stories, poems, drama, and novel. You need to have done at least 2. I know some people do 3, but answer question based on, what you were taught. That is it. And then the last paper is paper 3. And one word of advice I can say for paper 3, don't think it's predictable. Know how to write an email. Know how to write a formal apology letter. Know how to write a magazine review. Because one day, that friendly letter and that dialogue, it will disappear from the paper. There was a year where they added an email and the friendly letter wasn't there. So please make sure you know at least how to write that. When you check your exam guideline, it tells you they ask one piece in each category. Know how to make directions. Do you know how to make a poster? It doesn't need to be colorful. What are we looking for in a poster? Make sure you know the format. The format is very important. All right, we are done with our languages. Now we come to my favorite subject. My favorite subject. Can you guess what it is? Life orientation. I love life orientation so much. But the topics for the 3rd term are development of self in society, career and career choices. And we're going to do human factors causing ill health. So that's things like lifestyle diseases, your TB, your sexually transmitted diseases, your HIV and AIDS. And then we're going to talk about human factors that cause ill health. We're going to talk about a job contract, the labor laws, equity and redress, and work ethics. That is the end of life orientation. And some of you guys might have already written the test. So in LO, there are 2 assignments. There's 1 test and there's 1 final paper. The test weighs the same as your assignments. So it's very important that you do that. It's out of 100. Some people write it in 2nd term, some write it in the 3rd term. So it is very important that you actually prepare for that. And you also write your final exam for LO in September. How nice. Then you're done with the LO for good. So that test determines whether you get a distinction in LO or not. But we'll talk about that. And then it's a control test, and then the final exam you also write in the trial period. Okay. Now we're going on to the other topics. Let us start with accounting. Featuring my fancy laptop. We have VAT, we have budgeting. That's it. That is about it. And then you have 2 papers and a case study. So the case study is out of 50. It can be on budgeting or VAT, or it can be a combination of both. And then the trial exam, 300 marks, 150 each, 2 hours per paper. And the topics for paper 1 are financial reporting and evaluation. And then paper 2 has managerial accounting, internal auditing, and control. And the cognitive level is that 45 marks of the paper is basic thinking skills. So 45 marks. So at least a level 3 is simple things. Moderate thinking questions is 60 marks. And the remaining 45 is high order thinking. This one wants you to apply yourself. Apply your medulla. So 30% of the paper is easy, 40 moderate, 30 difficult. And you can do this. Make sure that the exam guideline is something we look at. So that is with your accounting. And then that's where the syllabus ends. And then you'll write final exam. That's it. Let us move on to life sciences. Okay. Life sciences is also a bit relaxed because we are only doing 1 topic. And this is the balance of the topics. It's the only topic, okay, no, wait. Let me not say only. It's one of the 2 topics that weigh heavily in your final exams. It counts 33% of your final paper. So the prep paper and the final, this topic called evolution counts 33% of your paper. So without evolution, you can't get a distinction. So we need to clock it. Exam guideline, one thing I can tell you, they're going to ask you speciation. Out of Africa hypothesis, come back to this video once you've done the topic. But for the term, you have a formal experiment, or it's an assignment this term. Test conditions, 50 marks or less, but it's 25% of your term mark. And then you have 2 papers, 150, 150. What are the topics? Paper 1, we have reproduction in invertebrates. We have human reproduction. We have responding to the environment by humans and human endocrine system. And we have responding to the environment of plants. You know that phototropism, that is what's in paper 1. And then paper 2, we have DNA, meiosis, genetics, and evolution. That's it. Now let us talk about the difficulty level. 30% of the paper is easy, level 2. Moderate is 40% of the paper. Difficult is 25%, and very difficult is 5%. So that 5% is to distinguish top performing learners from everyone else. So people who get above 95 are people who are able to tackle those difficult questions. Okay. So we'll also be talking about the exam guideline later, but that is what you'll be doing for life sciences this term. Okay. Let us move on to mathematical literacy. Okay. Third term, you have a test and a prep exam. Prep exam, 2 papers, 150, 150, 30 hours. For life sciences back there, it's 2.5 hours. So it's 1 mark, 1 minute in life sciences. So for maths, you have maths lit. You have maps, plans, and other representations of the physical world. So we have maps, we have models, we have plans. And then it's a revision. Then you're done. Most likely the test will contain the topics from third term. Your paper 1 will include finance, data handling, and a bit of probability. So probability counts is in both papers. Paper 2, we have maps and plans and measurements and a bit of probability. 20% of the paper. So 30 marks in each paper is simple questions that everyone should be getting in question 1. You need to be getting those. So that is it. We'll get into more detail in a separate video about that. Now let's go to mathematics. I think there's about 2 topics left, but let's see. Okay, there is 3 topics. There's findings, growth and decay, which you should have done in grade 11. It grows. Statistics and counting and probability. And then you're going to get a test on those 3 topics. Counts 25% of your term mark, and then 2 papers. 150, 150. Paper 1, algebra, number patterns, functions, calculus, and probability. The most dominant topic there is functions and calculus. They count 70 combined, so half of the paper. So we need to do well there. Paper 2, statistics, analytical geometry, trigonometry, Euclidean geometry. So everything to do with analytical, Euclidean, and trigonometry. Euclidean counts 50%, well, 50 marks, so 33% of the paper is Euclidean. And make sure you revise your grade 11, don't forget. And know the proofs. 1 proof always comes up in the exam, and that's 3 marks, because you just need to understand and memorize that. Okay, we are done with maths. This is going to be one of the shortest videos I've actually released. Okay, let us go now to physical sciences. Physical sciences, there is what topic left? Okay. Why does it look like physics has quite a lot of work left behind? Okay, so for physics, we have electricity, so the electrical circuits, electrodynamics, we have optical phenomena, but do check with this year's exam guideline to see if optical phenomena is still being examined. And then electrochemical reactions, and then that is it. Paper 1 will have mechanics, electricity, waves and sounds, matter and material. Matter and material is that optical phenomena thing I spoke about. Just confirm with your teacher, because there's a new ATP apparently, and it's a rumor that topic might actually not be there, so do confirm. Also check from last year's exam. Paper 2 has chemical change and matter and materials. So what is mechanics? That is Newton's momentum and impulse, vertical projectiles, the whatchamacalls, work energy theorem, all of that. Stoichiometry is part of chemical change. That is all you're doing, and then you're going to have those 2 papers, and then there is a formal practical that counts 25% of your mark. So there is a practical there that can at least help boost your score. Let us go to technical maths. Who does technical maths here? Because last time someone said, I'm not including it and I need to do that. So I need to see where are the technical maths and science learners. In this, we have trigonometry. That is the only topic you are doing. Trigonometry of 2D and 3D dimensions. You're going to have a PET, and then you're going to have a paper 1 and paper 2. Your paper 1 is going to have algebra, functions, finance, and calculus. Algebra and calculus counts 50 marks each. And then paper 2 is analytical, trigonometry, Euclidean, and mensuration and circles, angles, and angular movements. Trigonometry counts 33% of the paper. All right? Okay. Let us move on to the next. Technical science. Let's see where the technical students are. Okay. Let's see for your 3rd term. There is electrostatics, electrical circuits, electromagnetism, electrochemical cells, and then you're done. Mechanics, electricity, and wave, sound, and light are going to be part of your paper 1. 150, 3 hours. Paper 2 is chemical change, matter, and material. Interesting. Wait. Are they saying that paper 2 is out of 75? Really? That is very interesting. Okay. Your paper 2 is 75 marks. And then paper 1 is 150. Interesting. Clock it. Clock it. Let us move on to tourism. The tourism boys and girls, I know that you guys are bringing distinctions because I mean, come on now. Come on now. You have domestic, regional, and international tourism, sustainable and responsible tourism, and then we have communication and customer care. We have tourism sectors, and then that is it. Then you have preparatory exams. You have a prep exam, and then is there a practical or a PAT? There should be. So your preparatory exam is 1 paper out of 200. Everything you've done, make sure you check this year's icons that I examined this year. Get them from your teacher. I haven't received them, or maybe I just haven't checked my emails. Okay, let us go to agricultural sciences and then business studies. Okay, so for Greek, what do these kids have? Agri, production factors, capital and management, agricultural marketing and marketing equilibrium, agricultural marketing systems, agricultural entrepreneurship. And then you have a practical, 25% of your term 3 mark, and then 75% is the exams, which is 150, 150, 2.5 hours. 1 mark, 1 minute. Astalida. Okay. So it's going to have paper 1, which will include animal nutrition, production, protection, control, and reproduction. Paper 2 will have agricultural marketing, production factors, and basic agricultural genetics. If you do genetics in life sciences, so if you do life sciences in a Greek, you have a combo because you don't have to study a lot. Section A is 45 marks. It's terminology. It has a similar structure to life science. And then Section B has question 2, 3, and 4, which are like 35 marks each. So it's like 105 in total. Simple questions, it's 40%, the knowledge that you need to know. And then comprehension and application. So the medium order questions, it's 40. And then high order questions is 20%. That is it. That is it for our Greek. Now let us go to business. Okay, then we'll do CAT. Okay, my besties, let's see. Human rights, inclusivity and environmental issues, social responsibility and CSR and CSI, so corporate social responsibility and investment, presentation and data response, forms of ownerships, and then you'll also have a project on that, a research project, and then you have 2 papers. Paper 1, paper 2, 150, 2 hours each. Paper 1 is going to be business environment and business operations. And there's going to be section A, which is compulsory. Section B is 40, 40, 40. You get that. And then section C, you also have to choose. You get that. It's very important. Section A is compulsory. You get that. So then you will choose between those 2, what you do and what you don't want to do. 1 essay question, choose 2 questions in section B. Paper 2 is going to have the same structure. Section A, if everything you answer. The topic there is business ventures and business roles. Exam guideline details that what falls under business roles. And then section B again is going to be 3 questions, 40 marks each. Then you must choose 2. Remember, the entire paper you must answer a total of 150. So that 30 from section A, and then another 40 from section B, another 40, and then in the essay question you choose 1 essay, then it's 150. You get that. And usually they will guide you, like for example here they say that for the essay questions in paper 2, question 5 will be on business ventures, and then question 6 will be on business roles. Awesome. And last year I spoke about this in one of the videos, but I think I might just make the video again. Let us get into geography. Geography, the topics are almost done. In geography term 3, the only topic there is economic geography. Structure of economy, agriculture, mining, and secondary and tertiary sectors, and South African industrial regions. For this, you need to know what agricultural product is being examined in 2025. It changes, so the agricultural product and the mining product as well, they do change. You find out that this year we focus on meat or we focus on maize. And then the one thing that you need to know is the industrial regions as well. Which one is being examined? You see, is it the Port Elizabeth, Edenhaag, or what is it? You have a control test that is on economic geography. And then you have two papers, 150 and 150. And remember now, map work is part of both the papers. It's question 3 with the GIS. The map skills, the interpretation, it's 30 marks. It's in both papers. Paper 1 has climate and weather. It's 60-60 and then 30 for map work and the constituents of the map work. Paper 2 is rural and urban settlements. And there's also geomorphology in paper 1. Paper 2 also has economic geography. And then map work. Remember, here in geography, usually you don't really get to choose. Everything has to be answered. Back then, it used to be. Low order questions are 25%. Middle order questions are 50%. And then high order questions are 25%. There's a cyclone. There's been a lot of cold fronts. So I hope that you've been feeling this weather and you've been seeing the impact because it's coming in your trial exam. There's a cyclone that happened this year. Let me not say too much, but for your final, there's a cyclone that happened this year. I hope you guys have been paying attention. The impact, how has the weather been? Before the cold front approaches, there's a cold front that's supposed to be coming in today. So take note, 25th of June, read news articles about the cold front. And they're going to ask you that in the exam. And think of me in that exam. Geography, we are done. Let us go to economics. Okay. Economics, we have economic growth and development. Growth and development. We have economic and social indicators. We have economic issues of the day. Inflation, tourism, and environmental sustainability. You have a case study, which is 25% of your term's mark. And then the trial. Two papers, paper 1, paper 2, 150, 151, 2 hours, 2 hours. Paper 1 is macroeconomics pursuits. And then paper 2 is micro contemporary issues. Section A, you answer everything for both papers. Section B, you answer 2. In section C, you only answer 1. Low order questions are 30%, middle order are 40%, and then high order is 30%. All right. Let us now move on to the last subjects. Okay. We did geography, we did economics, we are doing history. So for that term, there should be new global world order, there should be revision, and then that is it. Okay. Let's see. And then what is going to be done? You have prep. 2 exams, 150, 150, 30 hours. Paper 1 has the Cold War, Independent Africa case study, civil society protests from the 1950s to the 1970s. And then there is essay questions on Vietnam, Independent Africa, Congo, Black Power movement. I did not do history, but I know that a lot of my learners used to talk about the Black Power movements. That is something very important. Paper 2. The crisis of apartheid in the 1980s, TRC, the end of the Cold War, the challenge of the black consciousness to the apartheid state, coming of democracy to South Africa, the end of the Cold War, make sure that we go to the exam guideline. There's a source-based that's usually asked, 50 marks, and then contextual source-based questions. Know how to answer your essays, because that's where a lot of people lose marks. And then they say analyze your questions, identify relevant content to answer questions, write an introduction linked to the question. Use the content to develop a line of argument and write a conclusion that is relevant to the introduction that you get and the conclusion. And then there's another test that you guys are supposed to write, source-based and an essay. So, bestie, that is it. Good luck for the trial exams. We'll meet again after the trial exams for the final paper. Bye.